Hello and welcome back to another episode from the DebateGate Sports Podcast. Tonight, we are going to be bringing you a lot of March Madness stuff. We're recording at a late hour, trying to get this out before the tournament starts. I know our planning is great, but we're going to start with me, your boy, Gavin Connolly, giving my March Madness picks in a bracket. I'm doing a wager with Josh, $10, because we are both very rich and have a lot of money to spend wagering on brackets. This is going to be my bracket against him. He will be making an episode as well, going over his bracket, and then we'll do another one about upsets and sleepers and just overall March Madness tips for you guys. Let's just get right into it. Gavin's bracket. But before we get onto it, if you guys are new to the channel, please subscribe. We would really, really, really appreciate it. If you guys like this sort of content, please consider subscribing. It would help out the channel as well. We would really appreciate it. So yeah, we are on the road to 100 subs. So if you could subscribing would mean a lot. Let's restart this because that was shit. 3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome back to another episode from the DebateGate Sports Podcast, the greatest sports podcast that you have ever seen. Today, just me so far. Josh will be joining us for later videos, but right now it's just me bringing you some March Madness picks for my official bracket in a wager with Josh, $10 wager because, we just have a ton of money. And yeah, I'm going to be giving you my picks. But before we get onto it, if you guys could please subscribe, it would be greatly, greatly appreciated. We are on the road to 100 subscribers. So if you like this kind of content, if you like sports, if you like hearing us talk about sports and many different sports and professional and college, please consider subscribing. It would help the channel a lot. So March Madness is tomorrow. I'm really looking forward to it. I know you guys are too. So I'll just shut up and get right into my picks. So starting with the West region, I think it's pretty safe to say that Gonzaga will not be losing to Norfolk State or Appalachian State. But then here's where it gets interesting. It's Oklahoma versus Missouri. Now, Oklahoma is missing a starter due to COVID, and they have a good offense, including Austin Reeves, who's averaging, I believe, 17 points per game. And then Missouri, who's in a very tough SEC conference. They love to play spoiler. They beat a lot of the good teams, but then lose to a lot of the teams that are on their level. And their offense is streaky. It's very hot and cold. So I'm going to go Oklahoma here. I think that's the safer pick. So then Creighton and UCSB, University of California, Santa Barbara. I'm actually going to go with the Gachos here for the upset. Creighton I don't trust because they're coming into the tournament with an open head wound. You hear some teams, you hear some analysts say, oh, this team's coming in with a headache if they lose right in their conference tournament. Creighton lost by 27. So I think UCSB could pull off the upset. Here's another popular upset pick is Ohio versus Virginia, but I'm actually going to go with the Cavaliers for this one. I don't understand why everybody's just down on the Cavaliers just because they have COVID. I find it pretty stupid. So Virginia's got a good defense. So yeah. Then USC versus Drake. Again, I have USC. Evan Mobley, 16 points per game and 8 rebounds a game. He is their leader, and his brother's not too bad as well. So, their defense, I don't think Drake would beat USC. Kansas is not losing to Eastern Washington. I know, important to note, though, I believe 3 of some of their best players or leading scorers are out with COVID. I repeat, they are out with COVID. So do not pick Kansas to go very far if you want to win money. Kansas, losing those guys hurt. I'm picking Oregon to beat VCU because Oregon's got a nice 1-2 punch with Chris Duarte and Eugene Omoruyi. I think that's how I'm saying it. Please don't cancel me. But yeah, VCU, they do love to play spoiler, but I think Oregon's just too good. And then last but not least, Iowa beating Grand Canyon University. I didn't even recognize what GCU was. That's how much I believe in Iowa. Moving on to the East Division, Michigan will not lose to a 16 seed. Now, here's where it gets interesting. LSU versus Saint Bonaventures. Saint Bonaventures has a really good defense. Let me switch my notes. And LSU plays no defense, but a ton of offense. I think since Saint Bonaventures has not seen a team that's like LSU, I think LSU will get the best of them here. Colorado versus Georgetown. Georgetown went on a barnstorming run to win their Big East Conference tournament, but I don't think they're going to win one in March Madness. I have Colorado winning. Colorado's pretty under the radar, if you ask me. And then I don't think Florida State will get upset either. However, the first 4 game that's going on right now, Michigan State versus UCLA, I got them beating BYU. BYU, they beat up on a lot of crap teams, but the stat that really stuck out for me was that when they played Gonzaga, they gave up a lot of points and they struggled to score. BYU's quote-unquote best asset is their offense, but they struggled to score against Gonzaga. For me, that's concerning. So I think Michigan State will win this game, and I think they'll beat BYU as well. Then we got Texas. Texas will beat Abilene Christian, I believe. Although Abilene Christian, I've seen some people pick them to beat Texas, and I wouldn't be completely shocked. Here's another very, very good game and a great talking point as well. I'm picking UConn to win, but this is a game that I can't wait to watch. Big note. James Bouknight is back, who is their leading scorer by a ton, 19 points per game. And they were 11-6 in the Big East with him there. They were 4-4 without him. But then Maryland, on the other side, has the Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year in Daryl Morcell, who can strap onto him. So will Bouknight play great in his first game back? I don't know. It's not going to help having one of the best defenders in the country on him, but I still think UConn will beat Maryland. Then we got Alabama. I do have them beating Iona. Pretty simple. Moving on to the Midwest, where we got Illinois, the Cock, Kofi Cockburn. Enough said. I have Loyola Chicago beating Georgia Tech. They have a very good defense, like best in the country. Like according to KenPom, sportsreference.com, they are averaging 55.5 in opponents' points per game. So Loyola Chicago, wow, they're good again. Cameron Krutwig. So then here's another interesting one is Tennessee versus Oregon State. I actually have Oregon State because looking at their numbers and their quadrant 1 wins, which more quadrant 1 wins is good because it's good teams. They're very, very similar. For Tennessee, being a 5 seed, having similar wins as a 12 seed was kind of concerning. So for me, it kind of felt more like these teams, it was like an 8-9 matchup. And because Tennessee just decided that they don't like scoring anymore after at the beginning of the season, many had them to make a deep postseason run. I'm going to go with the Beavers here. Then we got Kate Cunningham and company, Oklahoma State. Believe they will win. Then we got San Diego State, a team that I'm actually pretty high on. I think they'll beat Syracuse, even though Syracuse has a history of making deep runs when they're like a 10 or above seed. But I think San Diego State, they have all the right tools to make a deep playoff run, in my opinion. They rely on their seniors. They have a really good defense. The issue is the quadrant 1 wins. They're not in the best conference, in the Mountain West. And they've lost both of their games against Utah State, who's the only other Mountain West team in the tournament. So that's a little bit concerning. Nonetheless, I think San Diego State can pull through, win this game, maybe a few more. Then we got West Virginia beating Morehead State. Ironically, West Virginia does not have their usual really good defense, but instead they're relying on their offense to win games, which is interesting. We got Clemson beating Rutgers. Rutgers is another team that really had their regular season end on a really awful note. They lost by more than 25 to Illinois. So I think Clemson will take advantage of that. Then I have Houston winning as well. Going to the second round, I think Gonzaga over Oklahoma. That's not too crazy of a pick, but here is a crazy pick. I got Santa Barbara. I got my Gauchos going to the Sweet 16. I think they'll ride the momentum versus Creighton. Virginia's dealt with some COVID issues, so that's kind of why they've had Ohio beating them in the first round, them referring to people in general. I think that this is my Cinderella team for this year. Gachos to the Sweet 16. Like I said earlier, Kansas missing too many starters. I think Evan Mobley's team will dethrone the Jayhawks. Kansas also has a pretty big history of not living up to their expectations in March Madness. And I also have Iowa beating Oregon. Iowa, feed Luka Garza. Probably going to win the, I believe it's like the MVP for college basketball. Not entirely sure what that's called. It's like Player of the Year or something like that. I don't know. I'm a little slow tonight. Whatever. I think it's either going to be Luka Garza or Ayo Dosunmu, the GOAT. So, yeah, Iowa will beat Oregon. Then I also have Michigan. Big story for Michigan is the Isaiah Livers injury. One of their best players. They still have a lot of talent surrounding him, so I think they'll get past LSU, who, like I said, doesn't play a lick of defense. But I don't know if Michigan will make the Final Four like some people had them initially. But as of right now, they'll get to the Sweet 16. I have Colorado beating Florida State. Florida State, they're very defensive-minded, but they're very lengthy as well. They always produce like the really good wings with Jonathan Isaac or Patrick Williams. They have more here. They have C.J. Walker, who's a guard, who's like their top guy. But I think Colorado will pull through. I don't think many people will see this one coming. I don't know, but I feel like Colorado is just way too under the radar, and I think they'll use that to their advantage. Then we got Texas. I think Michigan State won't play spoiler twice in a row. Texas is interesting because they got Shaka Smart, their experienced coach. They got Matt Coleman, who's their senior point guard. Got really good guard play. They had two guys on the All Big 12 second team and two guys on the All Big 12 third team. So Texas having that big core, I feel like is big. Here we go. We got another upset. I think UConn will beat Alabama. And I think Alabama's a really good team. Don't get me wrong, because I do have Bama in the Final Four for some of my brackets. The issue with Bama, they don't have that go-to guy that UConn has, James Bouknight. You know, he can take over the end of the games. Cade Cunningham, Ayo Dosunmu. They don't have that killer instinct guy that's just going to, like, no one else on the court is going to matter except for that one person, puts the team on his back. Because their best player is Herb Jones, who is a defensive player of the year, outstanding, but he's a center, so it's not like he's not as impactful as a guard. So for that, I have concerns about Bama in close games, and so I think UConn will win. Then I have Houston beating Clemson. That'll be a defensive slugfest, very physical game, but I just don't think Clemson has the firepower that Houston does with Quentin Grimes, the former Kansas Jayhawk. San Diego State versus West Virginia. I think San Diego State will win. I think San Diego State will win, honestly. Oh, maybe. No, I'm going to go West Virginia. I'm going to go West Virginia here. I think West Virginia's offense is good. No, San Diego State. San Diego State originally, because their defense is too good for West Virginia. And West Virginia always seems to get lose pretty early in the tournament as well. Yeah, I think San Diego State, they got, like I said, they got all the right tools. Illinois over Loyola Chicago, don't think that's too crazy. Then Oklahoma State over Oregon State. I think Oklahoma State will win that as well. I don't think Oregon State will have lightning strike twice. Oh no, did I not do this? I didn't do the first. Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry, guys. We'll speed run this. Baylor is going to beat Hartford. Best team in the country, in my opinion. North Carolina will beat Wisconsin. North Carolina has incredible big man. They got one of the best rebounders in the country. Just like best overall rebounding schools in the country. Then Villanova and Winthrop. Everybody seems to pick Winthrop. I'm going to go Villanova. I trust in Jay Wright. I trust in him. I trust in him as a coach. And since they got eliminated early from the Big East tournament, giving him an extra week to prepare is not a good thing for Winthrop. However, controlling the pace of play will be essential in this game. And since Villanova lost their star point guard, Colin Gillespie, it will make it a lot more difficult. Because Winthrop likes to play fast. Villanova likes to play historically slow. But I think Villanova, my gut is telling me pick Villanova. My gut is also telling me don't pick Purdue. Purdue scares me because they usually rely on the three-point shot, only this year they're not shooting it efficiently, whereas North Texas is over 38%. And they're shooting 20 attempts, so they're shooting quite a bit. The strength of schedule does scare me, but Purdue's best guys are also freshmen, which also scares me. I think North Texas can pull through here. I also have Texas Tech beating Utah State, Arkansas beating Colgate, and Colgate is actually a stacked 14 seed. Looking at the analytics and points per game versus offensive points per game, Colgate's actually ridiculous. I want to see in the little info thing they give you a score. Oh no, they don't. Never mind. In the app they do, but Colgate was given a 67 out of 100, which was insane for a team. That was more than Baylor, Illinois. Anyways, moving on. I think Virginia Tech will beat Florida. Florida, I've looked at their schedule. They just beat a bunch of crap teams, can never win the big games. Whereas Virginia Tech was in the top 15 not too long ago. They've struggled with COVID, but I'm not high on Florida. Ohio State, I also picked to win. So yeah, now we need this division again. Going back up top, Baylor, I think, will beat North Carolina. North Carolina just isn't as good. Then I also have Villanova winning again. Don't think North Texas will make it that far. This is a tough one. Texas Tech with Mac McClung and a good defense again. I'm going to go Arkansas. I think their fast style of play will work to their advantage. And yeah, I don't think Tech will be able to outscore Arkansas. So then we got Ohio State. Oh, Arkansas, by the way, putting up 82 points per game in the SEC. Ohio State, I think, will beat Virginia Tech. I don't think Virginia Tech will beat Ohio State. Virginia Tech's got a new coach this year, so that doesn't help them as well. Sweet 16. Yeah, Sweet 16. Gonzaga beating UCSB. I'm sorry, Gachos. Your time runs out. Gonzaga's just too good. They're number one in everything. Jalen Suggs, stud. Almost putting up 100 points per game. And I got Iowa as well. These are the 1 and 2 most efficient offenses according to KenPom in the country. Not a professional league yet. But this would be an incredible showdown, and I think it's going to happen. I think we'll see it. Here's where Michigan's time runs out. I got the Buffaloes. I don't know why I got the Buffaloes, but I don't know. Something about them. They're pretty good at everything. They're balanced. They know how to score. Got my boy McKinley Wright, the fourth. They play good defense. I think Colorado can go far. They're I picked them to be my Auburn of last year, where no one really expects them. No one really thinks of them, but they're going to go pretty far. They won some games in the Pac-12 as well, so I think they'll win in the Elite Eight. I think Michigan's time runs out. I think that Livers injury catches up to them. Then we got Texas beating UConn as well. So Texas and Colorado will be my Elite Eight. For the East, I kind of mentioned Texas. Having that coach and that plethora of options, as well as good forwards. Defense is a bit of a concern, but their offense, they can turn it on for sure. Then we have Houston. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to the cock. I'm sorry to all the Illinois fans. I'm sorry to Josh, who is an Illinois fan. I think it's going to happen. I think Cade Cunningham is going to do it. I think he is going to put his team on his back. And they also have some good interior defense to stop Kofi Coburn. I think it's going to happen. Everybody is so high on Illinois, including me. I have them winning 2 of my brackets. I think it's going to happen. I think Oklahoma State is not only going to win against Illinois, I think they're also going to beat Houston. Because once you beat Illinois, once you have this momentum, I think they're going to make it to the Final Four. Oklahoma State. Give them my Final Four. People don't remember about Oklahoma State. The big reason, in my opinion, 10 quad 1 wins. They beat Baylor. They beat Texas. They beat other teams. They beat Oklahoma so many times. Oklahoma State is legit, and they've been playing their best basketball as of recently. I got them in my Final Four. And then, moving up here, we got Ohio State. We got our Baylor. I have Baylor beating Ohio State. Baylor, I think, is the best team in the country. I really do. Ohio State, they're also very good. E.J. Liddell, and I think it's E.J. Liddell, right? It's something Liddell. And then Dwayne Washington Jr. They play good in a lot of games. They struggle to win these really close games. A lot of the time they play hard. They'll get to like 98% of where they need to be, but they never really get that extra 2% to win those really competitive games against like the best of the best. We saw it against Illinois. We saw it against Illinois again in the Big Ten championship game. So, excuse me, I have Baylor making it to the Final Four. I'm also going to pick Texas to make it to the Final Four. They're hot. They're very, very hot and cold, which is why I wouldn't even be surprised if Abilene Christian beat them. They're very streaky. And I trust in Texas, and I trust in Shaka Smart. I think Texas will make it. I really, really do. And then last but not least, going up to the West. I'm sorry, I've kind of made this kind of like erratic and just kind of bouncing around. But we're here now. We got the Final Four. Gonzaga. This would be such an incredible battle. But I just feel like Gonzaga's too good. And Iowa, I don't think they have enough to stop Jalen Suggs. Something interesting that my co-host Joshua brought up is that this is the first time that Gonzaga's actually had like a pure, like raw talent recruit in Jalen Suggs. Most of the time they've relied on seniors and good coaching from Mark Few to really like bolster the team based on or compared to just sheer raw recruiting talent. So this is the year that Gonzaga has that in Jalen Suggs, and this is the year that they will not only beat Iowa, but they'll make it to another national championship. I got the Zags beating Texas. Texas has a great run. A lot of people are sleeping on Texas, but I think they'll lose in the Final Four. And I also have Baylor. Baylor has beaten Oklahoma State earlier this year, I believe. I should check that, but I'm not going to. But I don't think Cade Cunningham can do it. Beating Illinois, beating Houston, and then beating Baylor, I don't think he'll be able to complete that. And for my national championship game, my personal best team in the country versus everybody else's best team in the country, Baylor Gonzaga, a classic. Give me my Bears. I got Baylor winning it all. I think I just don't see a way how Baylor. What am I saying? Of course, I can see a world where Baylor loses this, but the more I look at them, the more I see they are a clone, not a clone, very similar to that Virginia team that won it all against Texas Tech 2 years ago. Last time we had a March Madness, they got three very solid guards. They got Damian Mitchell, Jared Butler, who's like one of the best players in college basketball, and then they got like some guy with a weird first name, but Teague, like Medarius Teague or something like that. Malachi Teague. I don't know. Please don't come after me. So they got their three guards, which kind of reminded me of Ty Jerome, Kyle Guy, and DeAndre Hunter. And they have their big guy in Mark Vital, sort of like a Mamadi Diakite. So Baylor, they're just so complete. I feel like they have so many guys they can just turn to turn it on. So many good weapons. Not enough defense. They're still like a top 15, top 20 defense. Very, very good. In a tough division, Baylor is my national champion. For score, I don't know. 83, 75, 74. This is my bracket. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this. If you aren't new to the channel, please like, please subscribe. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know down in the comments below. Who do you guys have winning March Madness? And yeah, or your biggest upset. Let us know your biggest upset as well. With that, thank you guys for watching so much. Please like, please comment, please subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching. I've said this 4 times now, and goodbye.